Let's talk about every move the Chiefs have made so far in free agency, including players who were signed by the Chiefs, as well as former Chief free agents signed by other teams. Then let's look at the remaining available free agents and see who the Chiefs should still bring back. But first, how about those? All right, let's look at all the moves the Chiefs have made so far, starting with day one. March 13th, offensive tackle Andrew Wylie signed a 3-year, $24 million deal with the Washington Commanders, joining offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Then the Chiefs signed former Jaguars right tackle Jawan Taylor to a 4-year, $80 million deal worth $60 million guaranteed, with the potential plans to have him play left tackle depending on how the draft plays out. And this seemed to have been the final confirmation of Orlando Brown Jr. not returning to Kansas City, with the first telltale sign being the Chiefs opting not to franchise tag him. And lastly, on this day, the Chiefs re-signed defensive tackle Tershawn Wharton to a $2 million deal, which was cool to see considering Turk tore his ACL last season, which means the Chiefs are confident enough in his rehab and recovery to bring him back for another year. And speaking of confidence, I can tell you all with complete confidence that my coffee from Benchwarmer Brew is one of the best medium roasts I've ever tasted. That's why I opted to sell this bad boy to you all publicly. The HBTC blend has some nice chocolate and citrus notes with origins from Mexico and Ethiopia, and it's going to leave you with a nice victorious coffee buzz to start your mornings. And if you're interested in getting a bag and a way to support the channel as well, just go to coffee.hbtchiefs.com and get yours today. All right, back to the free agency moves. On March 14th, the Chiefs tendered an offer to exclusive rights free agent tight end Jody Fortson, to which Fortson actually tweeted out, "Around for another 365, and I'm thankful." From there, they signed former 49ers pass rusher Charles Omenihu to a 2-year, $16 million deal worth up to $20 million with incentives, which was a great grab for the money, all things considered. I mean, he's coming off of his best year in the league. He can be played anywhere on the line and had the 6th best pass rush win rate of any defensive end in the league. He does have a pending legal case going on currently in the state of California, which shouldn't result in much other than a small suspension, if any, but we will have to wait and see on that. Either way, this is probably why Veach got him on a shorter and a bit cheaper deal, all things considered. And then the Denver Broncos signed Chiefs fullback Mike Burton to a 1-year deal, reuniting Burton with former Saints head coach Sean Payton. And I'm sad with that news to announce that there may not be any failed fullback dives on 3rd and 1 next season with Burton gone.
Yeah, that's not funny.
Okay.
Let's move on to March 15th, which was a day where Chiefs free agents were signed left and right in a mad flurry to other teams. You had Colin Saunders inking a 3-year deal worth up to $14.5 million with the New Orleans Saints. Then the Chiefs tendered exclusive rights free agent QB Shane Buechele and also offensive tackle Prince Tega Wanogho real quick before opting not to tender linebacker Darius Harris, which means Harris becomes an unrestricted free agent, free to sign with any other team. And we will get to why they most likely did that here in a bit with another signing. But first, more players were signed elsewhere. Wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster was the big one up next, signing a 3-year, $33 million deal with the New England Patriots. It was reported that the Chiefs did offer JuJu a deal, but the deal offered by the Patriots was, quote, notably richer. So JuJu opted for financial security with the Patriots over a return to Kansas City. And I'm not sure we will ever know exactly what the Chiefs offered JuJu, but it obviously was not enough for him. And I mean, for the Chiefs to not even get close to the deal, I'll show the additional contract details of JuJu on the screen here. For the Chiefs not even to get close to that, that tells me they did not really want JuJu that badly at the end of the day, and more than likely have another plan, which we are currently still waiting on, by the way. TikTok Brett Veach. But I digress about wide receivers for now, because shortly after that, it was announced that safety Juan Thornhill signed a 3-year, $21 million deal worth $14 million guaranteed with the Cleveland Browns. This was expected, to me at least. Not that he would sign with the Browns, but that Juan would sign elsewhere in free agency, with Brian Cook likely being the next man up to fill his shoes. However, the Chiefs did bring in another safety shortly after this happened, but more on that in a moment, because free agents were not done signing elsewhere on this day. The next man on the list was actually the Chiefs' left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr., who surprisingly signed a 4-year front-loaded $64 million deal with the Bengals, which included the largest ever signing bonus for an offensive lineman at $31 million. Good God almighty, please give me just a little bit of that. And for clarity, it wasn't surprising that Orlando signed a deal elsewhere because the writing appeared to be on the wall for him when the Chiefs opted not to franchise tag him and then sign Jawaan Taylor on the first day of the whole free agency frenzy. It was more of a surprise that Orlando signed with a rival in the Bengals, but I don't really blame the guy for choosing to play for a successful organization and wish him the best. Anyway, the last bit of news for March 15th was that the Chiefs converted $12 million of Mahomes' 2023 roster bonus into a signing bonus, creating an additional $9.6 million in cap space, which they then used that extra cap space to make a few more moves on Friday, March 17th, in which they re-signed offensive lineman Nick Allegretti to a one-year deal, which was a great move for offensive line depth, in my opinion. He can play center, both guard positions, he's a vet, etc., and pretty cheap. Anyway, then they signed a division rival. This is a great signing, in linebacker Drew Tranquill, and it was reported that Tranquill actually chose the Chiefs over 5 other teams, signing a one-year deal worth up to $5 million. And while he did struggle against the run and had the most missed tackles of any linebacker in the league, I believe, he's a very good coverage linebacker, being that he converted from safety to linebacker back in college, and also can be used very effectively to blitz the good old QB as well, which would be a nice fit here for Spags and his defense. The Chiefs then made another move, signing former Bucs safety Mike Edwards to a one-year, $3 million deal with the chance to earn up to $5 million, which to me is a nice rotational depth piece with him coming off of his best season with 82 tackles and 2 picks. But who knows? He could overtake Brian Cook for safety number 2. We'll just have to wait and see. For now, I think he is rotational depth, but they did sign him to a decent one-year deal, up to $5 million. So they value him enough to make that move, and we'll have to see how that all plays out here as the offseason moves on and the regular season gets closer. And with all that said, here's the moves, in summary, that have been made so far from the start of free agency, all on one screen for you. On March 15th, Andrew Wylie went to the Commanders. Then Jawaan Taylor and Turk Wharton were signed. On March 16th, Colin Saunders went to the Saints. The Chiefs tendered exclusive rights free agents QB Shane Buechele and offensive tackle Prince Tega Wanogho real quick before opting not to tender linebacker Darius Harris. Wide receiver JuJu Smith-Schuster signed with the Patriots. Safety Juan Thornhill signed with the Browns. Orlando Brown Jr. signed with the Bengals. Then Mahomes had a bit of his contract restructured. Then on March 17th, the Chiefs made 3 moves. They signed offensive lineman Nick Allegretti, then linebacker Drew Tranquill, the former Charger, and former Bucs safety Mike Edwards. And last but not least, here's a list of the Chiefs free agents and their current status, with those still available either for another team or for the Chiefs to bring back, being tight end Blake Bell, safety Deion Bush, defensive end Carlos Dunlap, wide receiver McCole Hardman, who's had light conversations with the Vikings lately, running back Ronald Jones, who's visiting with the Cowboys, running back Jerick McKinnon, defensive tackle Derek Nottie, wide receiver Justin Watson, and defensive tackle Brandon Williams. And of all these guys remaining, I'd love to see McKinnon back. I mean, he was a staple, especially in pass protection and in the red zone. Carlos Dunlap, I'd love to have back as a veteran rotational piece on the edge. Possibly Derek Nottie, since the Chiefs need some interior D-line help as it is. McCole Hardman would be great, but I'm not sure how that will shake out for him just yet. Will he get offered a bag by another team? Multiple years, multi-millions, or will he come back on a shorter, more team-friendly deal here in Kansas City? Time will tell there. But regardless, the Chiefs have moves to make at the wide receiver position. Will they wait for the draft? Will they opt to sign a veteran free agent, which I'm even looking at Twitter right now just to make sure they didn't do? And they still have not done anything. So that is a position group that we're going to have to keep watching. But you guys got to let me know, what signing that the Chiefs made surprised you the most thus far? What position group do you think the Chiefs need to fill the most? I mean, probably wide receiver, but if there's another position group, let me know your thoughts on that. And then, of course, which current available Chiefs free agents would you like to see return? Make sure to let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments down below. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?